What's up, guys? I hope you're doing great. Well, today we are gonna talk about reasons why hitting rock bottom is the best thing that can ever happen to you. About 4 years ago, I had flat out hit rock bottom emotionally, financially, mentally, spiritually. The crash was painful in every way, and finally, I had no choice but to face myself brutally, painfully, and honestly. Years later, I look back with immense gratitude for the incredible gifts that time bestowed upon me. It instilled in me a deep trust that the universe actually did have my back, contrary to external appearances and bank balances. You might think I'm crazy for saying this, but I'd do it all over again in a heartbeat for the incredible insights and growth I gained through what were most definitely my darkest hours. But like any good adventure, it's only worthwhile if you come back having learned some solid lessons and with wisdom to share from having survived the fall. And so, with 2020 hindsight, here are my top reasons why hitting rock bottom is a good thing and why everyone should aim to hit rock bottom at least once in their lifetime. Reflection and realization. At the rock bottom, you realized just how far off course you were and that your life choices were simply not sustainable. It's in those dark moments of despair that your anger and frustration become so great and you declare once and for all to never again accept such mediocrity from yourself or from others. Second, seeing your dysfunctional behaviors. At the rock bottom, all your dysfunctional behaviors are finally revealed. If you never hit your lowest point, the dysfunctions continue to go unnoticed and unchecked, playing out under the denial radar and inevitable creating bigger dysfunctions and a harder fall down the track until the bubble bursts. You cleverly delude yourself into thinking everything is just great, and your life ends up being built on a big fat lie and false foundation. Gaining fresh perspective is another reason. Hitting rock bottom is the beginning of questioning everything that you've ever thought to be true. You question your motives, other people's motives, your beliefs, your fears, why you did things, why you didn't do things, why you attracted certain people and circumstances, why you succeeded, why you failed. The very fabric of your life is turned upside down and examined in raw detail. It's from this point that you build again, from the ground up, with a fresh perspective based on your renewed sense of clarity. Fourth, self awareness of bad habits and behavior. At the rock bottom, your disempowering patterns and behaviors become glaring obvious, and the triggers that kept you repeating those behavior patterns come into sharp focus. You realize that hitting rock bottom was not only inevitable but necessary because those behaviors were simply not conducive to your growth. On top of that, and perhaps most importantly, all the roles you'd been playing pop into your conscious awareness. It becomes clear that you've been a kind of puppet, playing the same role over and over, creating the same dynamics over and over, and keeping the drama going over and over, like a well paid actor in a soap opera. It's not until you break the mold and start the journey back to your true self that you stop playing those old, scratched records and begin to create new conscious outcomes. Fifth, trusting in life. You realize at the bottom that you were, in fact, not where you thought you were in life. You let your ego run the show with grandiose ideas about what could do, not knowing you didn't yet have the foundation to successfully accomplish those things. Ego's dead grip loosens when you come to the realization. You start to trust life and choose to live in the moment more often as you surrender to your higher self more and more. You align with your right purpose and right life path, and it feels good. Sixth, you gain humility. You see that life is not black and white and that you don't know everything. In fact, you realize you know very little and you decide to become a student of life rather than a juror. Seventh, compassion. You gain compassion. You understand what it's like for people in the depth of despair, shame, guilt, and fear. You can help but come back with the bottom feeling immense empathy with the human condition. That's nice. 8. Letting go. You're able to let go of everything because nothing is working anyway. Letting go of the old creates space for the new and soon new ideas, people, opportunities, talents, and gifts start to float into your experience. As you empty your cup, so to speak, you fill it back up with stuff that you actually want. Instead of accepting what was unconscious passed on to you, life hands you a fresh cup of reality. That's awesome. Ninth, taking responsibility. After you've hit the bricks, you perhaps for the first time begin to accept full responsibility for all the outcomes in your life. You see that blaming is futile, that complaining is dumb, and that making excuses is for the unenlightened. You realize it was you who created all the good and all the bad in your life. You dug the hole in which you were trapped, and only you can dig yourself out of it in order to finally become whole. And 10, the only way is up. The only way is up. There's no other way. The good news is once you've hit rock bottom, you know you can't possibly go any lower. You realize the bottom is actually a great springboard from which to push yourself up to the surface, away from the darkness and back into the light. 11th, trusting yourself. Hitting rock bottom waves you up to how you were relying on external to make you happy. Instead of needing outside validation, you begin to trust yourself and start the journey within to find your own sense of self, your own sense of purpose, and your own validation. This new inner sanctuary becomes the foundation for your happy and meaningful new life. 12. Gratitude. And finally, after hitting your lowest point, you become enormously grateful for all that you have from that time forward. You're sure that your situation can only get better from here, and it does for sure. Simply things, a smile from a stranger, fresh food in the fridge, warm clothes on your body, and a comfy bed. What else can we say? Your good health, for example, become things to treasure. Your existence is a constant prayer of gratitude to the universe and to yourself for having the courage to move beyond hard times and choose life when you could have chosen a number of other options just to make the pain go away. The gems mined in your darkest moment are what give you depth, courage, wisdom, and richness that can be learned elsewhere. Your ability to fly is in direct proportion to your willingness and courage to face your version of rock bottom. If you've ever been there and bounced back to tell the story, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you are currently sitting on rock bottom and still chafing your behind, you're probably cursing this video. But as someone who's been there and got the t-shirt, I can tell you that in years to come, you'll appreciate the experience and the chafing as the best thing that ever happened to you. Only once you're willing to explore your darkest depths can you truly be of service in the world. Only when the old foundations crumble can you begin to build again on new and solid ground. This is the gift of rock bottom. Aim for it. Well, guys, that was everything I wanted to share with you for now. I wanted to share as well how else have you experienced rock bottom and how do you try to get out of it. It was fun sharing with you these guys, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Share, subscribe, hit the like button. See you soon.